This strange knocking happens at the same time every night and no other times during the day.
2:30 in the morning.
This is definitely no animal. Whoever is knocking wants to make its presence known and apparently wants to get in now, immediately. I can also hear a strange paranormal voice before they knock during this part. I don't think it's the television because you don't hear it during any other part of the video. He shows us the outside of the trailer, and clearly nothing is out of the ordinary, yet when he returns indoors, so does the knocking from outside.
5 minutes has been doing it.
Hopefully whatever this is never gets the idea to try the door. A CCTV gym camera captures this slow-moving white object at 6 in the morning. The strange shape appears to float in midair and even slightly changes form at times. Paranormal or not, experts have been ultimately unable to determine the source of this fluttering figure. I guess it might be a piece of lint or something that got stuck on the lens of the camera, but the way it slowly sways without going anywhere makes me think that this really could be a classic haunting. This video was taken near the Pearl Tower in Shanghai, China. The forecast is clearly cloudy and thunder can be heard in the distance. It appears people began recording when they saw someone who appears to be levitating or hanging off the tower. Suddenly, there's a surge of lightning, and it appears this person acts as a lightning rod because he's shocked numerous times by the lightning. But the man is fine and stays suspended in midair. I couldn't find any additional information on the incident, so it appears we'll never know what happened to this individual beyond the recording of this video. If this video is real. A YouTuber named Bros Got Game is convinced that his local graveyard is haunted, but the only way to find out is to grab a friend and record there at 3 AM. They haven't even entered the main courtyard before they hear something approach.
But if you guys see anything that... What was that?
Smoke follows them throughout their exploration, even though there are no flames at any point in the video. After following a dirt path for a while, they come across a broken rope suspended from a gnarled old tree. It's pretty obvious to me that it must have snapped under someone's weight, though where they are is not clear. A short while later, one of them thinks they feel something grab their arm and quickly hurry out. Certainly a smart choice. This video resolution, which is fairly good quality, or at least better than most, catches a statue moving its eyes. From 8 seconds to 12 seconds, the statue has heavy eyelids that are almost shut. The person recording stops for a second to adjust the lighting, and that's when the statue apparently opens its eyes. Well, this would be bizarre to witness in person. I think this moving statue is a simple camera trick using angles and lighting. In the beginning, they record the statue at an upward angle with low lighting to make the eyes look more closed, but then they record at a downward angle with more lighting to increase the level of detail and make the eyes look more open. It's an interesting trick, but I doubt it's real. Or at least, that's what I think. Do you think it's real? Emma is too afraid to come into her parents' room because she says she can see a bad man in there with them. When her mother asks to point where the person is, she indicates that it's in a dark closet which is open. The mother examines the closet. She doesn't see anything, but she seems to get an uneasy feeling that matches her daughter's emotions.
What, baby? Want daddy? Okay, go get daddy.
The child turns around and freezes. She is too afraid to move without her mother following closely behind her. There's something about this video that seems very dark and genuine. Obviously, the mother felt a presence too, or she would have not uploaded this video with the title of 2-year-old girl sees ghost again. Overall, more information is needed before I make a final judgment, but let me know if you think Emma was seeing something that her parents could not on that night. In Mexico, a security guard was making his rounds at a store when he captured these paranormal manifestations on camera. First, he sees this spooky cart playing mind games.
Cabrón. Ahí está la primera cosa. No mames, no mames.
He later enters what appears to be a storage room, and the mannequins attack.
Así normalmente es. Casi toda la basura es de aquí, de Soriana. Todo lo que te... No mames.
He continues his tour when a scary Santa starts to dance.
Yo prefiero acercar. Hola amigo, ¿qué tal? ¿Cómo estás? No vengo a molestarte. A ver, vamos a acercarnos poquito. No, así me da quiz.
Well, this one is clearly automated. What triggered it? The guard leaves the room and returns, and again Santa comes to life and then jumps ship.
¿Qué pedo? No manches. Oh. Ay, qué pedo, no manches.
What do you make of this creepy series of events? In my opinion, while the automated Santa may have just been malfunctioning, the shopping cart and mannequin are harder to dismiss. Nothing good happens at 3 a.m. This TikTok posted by Diego Speckers is yet another example of that. Just watch. Wow, that's pure nightmare fuel. What was that child doing there, amongst the hanging laundry? Its black inky eyes are a real giveaway. This thing's a demon. As the person backs off, you see it again for a split second in the gap. But there's nothing below for this thing to stand on. Don't know about you, but I think this is the real deal. Definitely a demon. Another reason to leave 3 a.m. to the owls. A possible possession is caught on tape in Malaysia when these demon hunters help rid a local of her supernatural intruders. It's not her home that is haunted, it's her mind. I don't know if this is the power of suggestion or a true demon, but she is able to battle them for a long time, despite being quite outnumbered. Another villager struggles in a very similar way. The two do not know each other, but the movements and noises they make are similar.
Or reaction, and sometimes it will become worse.
Having now seen two different videos of the same condition, tell me if you think this is psychological or a real possession. I think it might be the power of superstition, real to them, but not a real possession caught on camera. This 7.4 magnitude earthquake struck Japan years ago. Earthquakes are common in this part of the world, but what happens next is not.
In the distance among the swaying buildings, a bright glow in the night sky, possibly what scientists call an earthquake light.
A bright light burns intensely over the city for nearly 10 full seconds before extinguishing as suddenly as it came. The light appears to have caused no damage and was accompanied by no sound. It does not look like it was caused by a blown-out transformer or any other kind of equipment. Scientists have documented this type of phenomenon before, known only as earthquake lights, but they don't know what causes them. They occur in less than 1% of earthquakes and have been reported for hundreds of years. A handful of theories exist, but a real explanation has never been proven. All we know for sure is that it creates an eerie light show that witnesses will never forget. At around 3 a.m. on April 12, 2010, this strange apparition was captured on the security camera of a bar and grill in Las Cruces, New Mexico during closing hours. Published by Ghost Investigations New Mexico in April of 2010, the crew slowed the frame-by-frame to 1/8 speed and shot video of the bar's security monitor. What they captured does indeed look like a floating head. In the regular shot, it appears to flash in and out quite quickly, while in the frame-by-frame, it looks like it actually flew out of sight. You can make out the eyes, nose, and mouth, and ears of the head's face, but it doesn't appear to have a body. There was no one inside the bar and grill at this hour. So what is this thing? Is it the face voice of a spirit? Where did its body go? Who's tapping at the window at 3 a.m.? This video by TikToker Diego Spikers will have you deadbolting your door. You can see a woman through the window aggressively knocking at the bathroom door of this apartment. But when the guy opens it to her, no one is there. Where did she go? Some in the comments say this could be After Effects editing. Others say he should have knocked back. I personally like that idea. Which side are you on here? This possible deep web video was discovered and posted by a YouTube channel called Grizz Overkill. In it, two bizarre looking figures walk forward in jerky, unnatural movements. The first one is dressed like a witch and has long, gnarled limbs and fingers on display. The second one is dressed the same way and is wearing what I hope is a mask and not its real face. Let me know if you recognize these figures from any television or movie series. I would feel a lot better knowing that this is just a film set and not a real video. If this does turn out to be real, then I don't even want to know its location or the surrounding circumstances. This channel was uploading the exact same video for 4 entire years straight. Then after 4 whole years, it randomly uploaded this creepy video as of September 2018. As far as I can tell, there's no practical reason for anyone to be doing this. Almost all of the videos had received less than 4 years and just as many years. I have little doubt that the designer of these videos has some sort of malicious intent, because the entire video collection just feels off, especially the latest one. It could be loaded with hidden messages about doing who knows what. Also, I noticed this string of binary code in the description box. If any developers think they can crack it, then please let me know what it says, because I'm really eager to find out. This mystery will probably never be solved because all of the videos have been deleted, and if you go to the channel, it simply says this channel does not exist. Jada Blaze has accidentally caught something mysterious while taping a house in Denver, Colorado that she now suspects is haunted. Take a look at what she claims is a real ghost sighting caught on video.
Okay, here is the finished product. Here's this room. Here's this room.
Something strange can be seen floating over her shoulder, and then whatever it is mysteriously disappears. The unexplained footage seems to show an object rapidly disappearing and reappearing in many different places at once, totally defying the laws of physics but not those of the paranormal. The creepy sighting was a ghost figure to her, and I wanted to know what this bizarre moment was to you. If you were thinking this was a dust particle, think again. The house just received a deep cleaning and is completely dust-free. That means it's either special effects or something supernatural. Help me decide which. A YouTuber named The Maniac sets out with his cousin to explore the back roads of Maine. Within 5 minutes, a vehicle pulls up and somebody gets out while pointing at the ground. He doesn't identify himself, and he certainly isn't a police officer, so I think the maniac was in the right to try and get away. I will admit that they were going pretty fast earlier, so maybe that's why this person was so upset. Anyway, approximately 2 minutes later, they see him again, but he is already turning with a car behind him and unable to swing back around. This time, the maniac speeds by him for a final look, and sure enough, the man is wearing the same gray shirt and watch as before. The maniac speeds off again before the man has a chance to get out of his car and try and make another attempt to stop him. You think winter roads are bad, and you've probably never ridden your bike here. This incident occurred in India in 2018. The uploader explains that it was his third day of riding from Indore to Pangong Lake, and he had just partnered with another rider who joined him on his solo trip. He writes that the pass was slippery that day and was loaded with trucks. The result is a close call his friend met with, which he caught on camera. The footage shows the pair of bikers on a narrow mountain road with nothing but a cliff edge and a 100+ foot fall to their right. In front of them is a truck transporting heavy metal poles. As they follow quite closely behind this truck, it looks as though his friend is going to attempt to overtake the vehicle on the cliffside with little to no shoulder, but that attempt comes to a quick end when his heavy bike with all his belongings piled onto the back loses traction on the slushy ground. It falls onto its side dangerously near the cliff edge. If he'd been even a foot nearer the edge, he would have been a goner. As fate would have it, his life was spared that day, and as Banda writes, hopefully this teaches other riders to ride safe, live long. This unnerving doorbell cam footage was taken somewhere in New Mexico. A random person walks up to a house in the middle of the night and just basically goes crazy without warning. They appear to have lost all sense of reason as they first yank on the doorbell cam and then start to scale the wall. It's unclear if they are really trying to gain access to the house itself or if they are just out of their minds and doing whatever spontaneously comes next. After a while, they come back into view and kind of wobble around. This next part sounds like they might have even fallen over, but I'm not exactly sure. Overall, the strange man seems more confused than necessarily looking to cause havoc, but I would still not want to encounter this potential maniac either way. While unknown sewer creatures are certainly scary, here's one real-life known creature you certainly wouldn't want to run into while peering into the sewage drain behind your home. Lou Cam published this skin-crawlingly creepy video in December of 2016. He seems to be lying right on the road in front of his home, where he tells his audience that he thinks he has an alligator in his sewer. It's pretty clear that he's telling the truth. As soon as the camera is angled into the darkness, sure enough, a shot into the depths below spies a pair of alligator eyes and the undeniable view of the scaly monster just lurking there, a bright green toy ball inches in front of its chompers. This is no laughing matter, although I doubt you were laughing at the sight of that frightening creature in the first place. To put this in perspective, an average adult American alligator is 13 feet long and 790 pounds. While they are generally timid around humans, they will attack and have been known to take people's lives. Just recently, a Florida woman disappeared while out walking her dogs, and her arm was found in the stomach of a massive 12-foot alligator who called a nearby swamp home. Alligators attack large prey by clamping down on it and dragging it into the water to drown it. Doesn't sound like a pleasant way to pass away. I'd advise Lou to get off the road and away from the sewer before it's too late. A YouTuber named D-Edge detects strange activity in his hallway after leaving his PS4 camera on record. This small figure appears no less than 2 times, despite the apartment being empty, at least according to the uploader. 20 seconds later, the figure makes its second entrance, hanging around the top of the doorway each time before disappearing into the darkness. I was thinking that maybe this was light coming from the window across the room, but the angle doesn't exactly match up. Something is definitely there, but let me know what you think it could be. Sometimes anger comes in the form of a crazy woman guarding her property. For YouTuber Jack Z in May of 2018, this was the case. Jack explains that he and his friends were riding along a trail they'd never explored. It led to a stranger's property, but it wasn't clear that they were on private property, as there weren't signs or fences around it. And in the video, it really doesn't appear private. It looks like a forest, a free-for-all. According to Jack, as they were heading out, a woman came out of nowhere and started confronting them.
I'm sorry. Get up.
I'm sick and tired of you, bull.
This is the first time here.
Bull. You guys are here all the time.
No, it's
scaring
not
my horses.
Grabbing hold of Jack's backpack to throw him off balance, which led him to busting his brake on a downed tree that was in front of him. As he climbs out from under his bike, she can be heard screaming at his friends as well. She then gets in his face, saying that him and his friends are there every weekend on her private property, scaring her horses. Jack writes, "Moral of the story is to be careful of what trails you choose to follow. It seems to me that this chilling event was just one big misunderstanding, and I hope this woman doesn't choose to act this way in similar future situations. Sometimes it's better to be blissfully ignorant." Published by Nerk7 to the Ghosts subreddit. The girls in this video heard a bump in the night, so they soon head down into the basement to investigate. When they arrive there, another thud clunks in the darkness, and as they nope right out of there, a whining sound groans as they run up the stairs. While some note that their reaction seems genuine, Noob Vin again pops into this thread. The Redditor who offered a rational explanation to the Ring doorbell entry footage to drop some more practicality, saying the sound seems more like a hinge or some other artificial noise. While this whining sound might be explained away, what of the obvious thud? Is there a ghost dropping a bowling ball down here? Alan Kloss likes cars, but beyond that, he also likes exploring abandoned places that are creepy, really creepy. One such exploration takes place at a bridge in Walnut Port, Pennsylvania, where a woman in white fell into the canal and did not come out alive. Notice how at 3 minutes and 37 seconds the camera refuses to focus on the bridge, a sign of the supernatural some would say. They move their ghost hunting equipment to the edge of the water and get a strong paranormal response. The flashlight turns on by itself and they use 2 different pieces of paranormal equipment to independently verify the presence of something supernatural there with them. This seems like it could be the exact location where she went under.
Look, alright, stopped back here.
And judging by the way his ghost meter goes crazy here at 37 minutes and 34 seconds, I'd say this is either an underground utility wire or the place where she was laid to rest.
Red, orange, orange, orange.
Hit red?
Yeah.
He actually hit red.
Orange, red, red, red,
wow.
red.
Oh my.
What do you think they've discovered? Imagine being alone in your house when a toy starts speaking over and over again, like someone is rapidly pressing its button. That's exactly what happened one day to a YouTuber named Melinda Wolf Miller with her child's Mickey Mouse toy. She bravely took out her phone and started recording. The toy makes some low noises at first, but once she says something about it, it apparently becomes very aggressive and starts growling in response.
Something is in the toy box is possessed.
It almost sounds like the toy is saying somebody in between snarling. I don't think that the 2 toys on top of Mickey Mouse are heavy enough to activate the bottom, so I'm honestly not sure what's happening here. Plane is heading to Jamaica when a much smaller object zooms by at an equal rate of speed, if not faster. It's hard to tell what this fast-moving sighting could possibly be, but I doubt it's another plane off in the distance, because air control makes sure that the planes always fly far away from each other, and usually at different altitudes. Whatever this is, if it had made contact with the plane while traveling at such a high rate of speed, I'm almost positive no one would have survived. Give me your best guess as to what you think this was. I will say that I have found other similar videos taken by YouTubers flying over Jamaica, so maybe there is something strange, mysterious, and unsolved about the airspace over that region in general. If you like to scrounge for snacks at night, this video will have you second guessing that midnight snack. Posted to Reddit by Better Than Better, the home security footage reveals a dark and seemingly empty kitchen at night. Around 30 seconds in, a man trudges in and opens the fridge to get a snack. While the man is standing at the fridge, drinking something, watch the teddy bear on the kitchen table. It starts moving ever so slightly, bobbing up and down, but that's not all. When the man closes the fridge and turns to leave, the baby walker next to the table does this, confused about whether he saw what he thinks he saw. The man doesn't take his eyes off the baby walker as he leaves the room, but he returns a short time later, his wife by his side, presumably to explain what happened. As he's indicating that the baby walker moved of its own accord, the teddy bear falls over, or rather seems to fly backwards, as the wife jumps out of the room and the man approaches the bear. Two of the chairs tucked under the table spring out simultaneously. If that isn't enough to scare you out of your own home, I don't know what is. I believe dealing with an incident like this is something 99% of people couldn't handle. This mini golf course is haunted by so many golfers who didn't win their round. Published to YouTube by Urban Ghosts Urban Exploration in April of 2021. Joe, Rob, and Kate are up for a course in fear as they explore this abandoned mini golf in the middle of a lightning storm. The whole thing kicks off with nothing but whispers. In the beginning, as they explore a room that's been torn apart, you can hear this whispering in the background. As they continue to explore, there's another voice that sounds like it says, "That's creepy," as they come across a stuffed teddy bear. Joe notes that the teddy bear wasn't here when he last visited the place. As they move glass off the teddy a short while later, two distinct knocks are heard. Despite this, they continue exploring. At this point, in a darkened room, two lights shine clearly above Joe's head, but these could either be a passing vehicle's headlights shining through a window, or they might be from one of the crew's devices. At the same time, it sounds like a faint voice is heard.
Either road noise, or somebody potentially walking around out there, and I think it's a little whisper.
As Joe is talking a short while later, something or someone is heard speaking over him.
Necrophonic app, I'm gonna
The voice is loud but muddled, and the crew seems to have heard it coming from outside the room. They decide to explore the ceiling air shaft. For a moment, you can hear weird laughter.
Who's up there?
Later, while filming inside the same air shaft, a distinct boom is heard which causes Kate to let out a terrifying scream. This, of course, scares the entire crew. Later, whispers are heard in the air shaft again. Then they film up inside the air shaft. This is when you can hear a muffled female voice. It sounds like it's saying "move on back" shortly after. Another knocking sound. The crew believes there's a spirit up in the air shaft. They are listening deeply, and at this point it sounds like a woman singing, but they don't appear to hear her on site. YouTuber Stella Gomez also notes that the sun ray has been moved against the wall at the end of the video. It wasn't there to begin with, so unless the crew moved it, then who did? Being as they usually don't disturb anything, its movement is all the more disturbing. Is the lady in the air shaft toying around with them? YouTuber Extinct File encounters the ghost of the Poco Aunties in this creepy video. As the team explores the abandoned place, they spot the ghost in a doorway.
No mames. No inventes, güey. Cámara 2, güey. Hola.
A little further along, they capture an unexplained sound.
No puede ser, güey. La madre.
And then another. They believe the spirit here was pregnant.
En el estómago. Quizá estaba embarazada, güey. Estabas embarazada.
They then hear wailing in the distance. It continues for minutes. After a while, the crying stops, but then starts up again. And then this happens.
No mames, güey. No mames, cámara 2.
Güey, ¿qué pedo?
No mames.
When they enter the enclosure, the figure is gone. Where did she go? I'm convinced they truly encountered the ghost of the Pokuantes, and if they did, they'd better hope these spirits didn't attach themselves. Salem, Massachusetts is considered to be one of the most haunted places in all of the United States due to its lengthy history of hunting witches and the foul spirits they bring. This ghost sighting was posted on Twitter by none other than the mayor of Salem. Eerie is how she describes it. A ghostly face with a furrowed brow and chiseled nose stares back at the mayor with a stern frown. I don't know if this lamppost is of historical significance, but it definitely seems to have become imbued with a spirit of some sort over the years. I doubt the mayor was doing this for attention, since she is already a high-ranking public official and gets enough of that already. If anything, the fact that she is willing to put her political career on the line by claiming that spirits are real shows how much she believes in what she saw. This video is simply called Path of the Banshee. A man is walking all by himself down a bleak path with rows of trees reaching out for him from both sides. He spots something in the distance and freezes. Some people claim that the scream is fake and edited in. Even so, plenty of people say that they can see a figure in white robes in the distance. Do you see anything like that when he zooms in? Also, if you can identify if that scream is from a video game or a movie or something, then please let me know. Maybe together we can prove if this video is fake or real once and for all. A YouTuber named Tracy Slaughter and her family hear a disturbance at the top of the steps, and they grab the camera to record what they are seeing for proof. It starts out very hard to see at first, but soon a pale white outline slowly appears against the wall. The head becomes visible in the very center of the room where the two wall patterns meet.
I didn't say lights.
Oh
you didn't say lights? Did you say go across? A light go across the top of the landing?
If you still don't see it, don't feel bad. The next part is much more obvious. Keep looking at the center of the stairway to see it.
It's only just gone across the top of the landing, and that's moving.
Can you ever see it?
Oh!
A being of pure white energy rushes down the steps and heads straight at them. If you play it in slow motion, you can see something actually comes around the corner and charges down the steps at them, sending everyone scattering. I guess this could be special effects, but I would like to get your opinion. The way everyone screams at the exact same time with true panic in their voices makes me think it could be real, in which case I'm glad they got out of there fast. If it was rushing forward to possess one of them, then I truly hope it does not succeed. Move over, Cujo. This real-life pet cemetery is even scarier than the book. Posted to YouTuber by Adventures with Christian in October of 2018. The uploader provides a bit of historical background to the scene of this haunting video. According to him, this unofficial pet cemetery in Boulder City is the most haunted in the world. Why? He writes, many people claim that there are mafia victims secretly buried there, other than the names on the headstones, which may have faded away. There's no record of the animals buried there. The YouTuber visits the pet cemetery at night, when it's at its creepiest. At the entrance is a sign noting that pet burials are prohibited there. According to him, the pet cemetery opened in 1931, located 20 miles from Vegas. It's potentially a mobster's paradise. In the 25-minute video, Christian explores the graveyard, looking for all elusive ghosts of animals and people alike. About 20 minutes in, he comes across a dugout grave. You can see the corner of a wooden coffin inside. About 22 minutes in, he hears something in the cemetery, although what it is isn't caught on camera.
What in the world? What? Jeez. Oh my god. Oh my god. What in the world? Oh. Okay, that's it. Oh my gosh, that's it. I'm done.
He says he's done and hightails it out of there. The camera then captures a hooded man walking past, right in the line of the flashlight, prompting him to really hurry. It's later revealed that the cameraman was just a character, but that doesn't make this place any less creepy. Currently, pets are laid to rest in this cemetery, including that of the famous film star dog Rin Tin Tin. If you'd like to lay flowers on his grave, this video is a cautionary tale. Don't do it at night. There's nothing more terrifying than what you cannot see. Posted to the oddly terrifying subreddit, this scary video shows a drive along a highway at around 5:30 at night in December of 2021. After a moment, a storm bursts into view via multiple lightning strikes. And then on the horizon you see it, a black funnel twisting ahead. The tornado appears to be straight on in the direction this car is driving. As the lightning continues to flash, the twister is moving off to the left and growing larger as the car approaches it. Many in the comments are wondering why the car continues to drive toward it. Notice the raindrops on the windshield. They're moving horizontally toward the twister. When this happens, as Redditor Ballpen Dodger notes, you're too close. And when you're facing a tornado like this, that is the last place you'd want to be. A quarrel with a poltergeist has only one outcome: you lose. Published by Scary Desk in September of 2021, the computer shop owner is battling for his life. The man is seen on an upper balcony of his shop at night. It sounds like it's raining. He puts his hood on and heads back toward his shop, but the minute he steps toward the door, he is thrown onto his back, falling onto the ground. You see he appears to have been pushed by a shadowy force. A young man runs to his aid from an adjacent office. As the man points in fear, what did he see? The young man looks inside but finds nothing. He then helps the owner limp to safety. What did this to this poor man? And is it the end of it? Or is it just the beginning? A video of a human torso walking upright is probably one of the scariest home CCTV moments I've ever seen caught on tape. The main reason it looks so terrifying is because this is mostly a marionette puppet instead of CGI, which requires more work but looks more realistic. Somebody is most likely pulling its strings from above to make it walk, or at least I hope so. Jal Bundy has caught some weird things on camera while exploring the forest outside of his village late at night.
Asta. কেরে কেরে ওখানে কেরে দেখুন 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 দেখুন
In front of them is the white outline of a phantom apparition that for some reason stands out against a backdrop of total darkness. When they rush towards the apparition, you can see it shrinks into a small ball of paranormal energy and disappears around the tree. Is this strange ball of light edited or really paranormal is what I want to know. I feel like this video could be real because it's late at night. They sound scared and those woods look scary too. Freaky, right? This alleged ghost was caught on video rummaging around a property of an arcade in Dallas. The phantom blob glides over the grass and quickly fits through an entranceway. It's pretty convincing to me. Here's a second video of it. This looks like a cheaper camera, but it picks up the same shape. The only possible explanation I have besides the paranormal is maybe an insect is crawling across the lens. A statue of Sai Baba became a topic of mass speculation across India in 2016 when it was apparently caught shrugging its shoulders, causing a clothing article to come off. The obvious answer is that this clothing item simply came undone and fell off over time, but at 24 seconds the statue appears to possibly roll its shoulder to make it fall off. What's especially odd though is that at 45 seconds, when everything seems to have fully unfolded and settled, the clothing article jumps off where the statue's hand is, didn't move again. There could have been wind currents from air conditioning or a draft to knock this loose in my opinion. Otherwise, it could have been a simple case of gravity and time. All the more reason to stay out of the forest. Published to YouTube by CJ Fashion in April of 2020. The channel writes, just when I thought a haunted forest couldn't get any scarier, there was an incident inside the Pocomoke forest with a person. Still not sure exactly what is going on with this place, but I can tell you this, something very weird and sketchy is going on in this forest. Pocomoke Forest is located in Maryland and is said to be haunted. Let's find out just how haunted it is. As the crew gets ready to enter the forest, they see a shadow speed across through the woods, and this is only the beginning. They hear something big growling and start to wonder if it could be a bear. As CJ explains, they've been at this site before and he believes his friend Sunny was possessed here. He also notes they're already hearing eerie footsteps all around. They start to explore the forest deeper, hearing noises at all angles.
This was... Oh!
As many points out, it's at around 28 minutes in that there appears to be a man standing in the forest next to a tree in the distant darkness. CJ says that their eyes are playing tricks on them, but I don't know about that. It's like the Where's Waldo of ghost hunts, and Waldo is definitely there. Can you find this unknown thing in the forest? Would you even want to? A musical performance tunes up the paranormal apparently. Published by Chloe Fantion in July of 2013. Two men are playing music together in a bedroom, one guitarist and one violinist. They wrap up their song and leave the room, letting their camera roll. Once they've left, a shirt drapes over the shelf, falling down strangely, like there's a body inside. A moment later, items fall from the top shelf, and then both instruments start moving at once. The guitar falls completely off of the bed. Was this duo's music so haunting that it conjured up the paranormal? Or is something even more sinister going on here? A YouTuber named X Hauntings is recording a video of some home improvements in the basement when he records a bizarre white object traveling his way at a high velocity. Normally I would say that this could be a bug or a speck of dust, but X Hauntings also recorded this crazy voice as the object passes by. Tell me if you hear a woman's voice yell, "Get out," as loud as she can. In this next part, I have no idea. I would say dust, but dust particles do not act like this. If you have a chance to visit a former institute, don't. Published by Steve Ronan in October of 2021, this pair of scary videos will send you running for the hills. In the first video, Ronan talks about how Lechtworth is where unethical testing was done on patients. When journalists exposed this, the place was shut down. As he's putting on some gear later, he hears someone near. He thinks it's Mo.
Mo?
Another sound is heard, and it doesn't seem to be the crew.
Okay, someone else has to come with me because I legit heard something. What the f? You okay?
Okay, that wasn't me.
They think it came from an adjacent room. The paranormal activity ramps up when one of the crew thinks he saw a person. They are later walking down a hallway when a door either opens or closes behind them.
Like someone or something walking outside.
They catch the sound on 2 separate cameras.
Walking outside.
As they continue moving through Lechtworth, a sound like a rock being thrown occurs to their left.
What's this door? What the f?
What the fuck was that?
They then attempt to open the doors ahead, and something shuts the door on one of them.
Nothing in here.
What was that?
What?
There's something that shut the door on me. It literally just shut the There's someone behind the door. There's someone actually behind the door.
They pry the door open again to see if there's someone inside, but it's an empty room. As they're wondering if someone fled through the window, their answer arrives in the form of the door slamming shut.
What the f? Yo. It's hard.
It won't open, and they call out for Mo to push from the other side. Mo manages to kick the door open, and they're all relieved to be out of that room. They then talk to the spirits, asking them to come in contact again, and the spirits answer in kind.
If that was your way of making contact with us, can you do it again?
Yo!
They race down the hallway, fleeing for their lives, but before they do, they look in this room one more time. Finding it empty again, something starts banging loudly and repeatedly in the dark hallway.
Go through the window, the bushes were rumbling too.
Still nothing to be seen. As they're heading to the stairs toward the creepy basement, a creaky door is heard opening and closing.
It's gonna take us to the basement.
Yo.
What was that?
In the team's second video, they explore the basement, which they soon discover is just as creepy as the floor above. They attempt to speak with the demons using a phone EVP. As they're communicating, another bang is heard behind them.
Are you angry right now?
When they start challenging the demons to slam a door shut, things get a little crazy, claiming he saw the door shake a little.
Like 2 minutes. Okay. Oh, guys. It just moved.
Mo soon starts to get woozy.
Oh, I'm feeling weird. Oh.
Mo?
I'm feeling lightheaded.
Dude, your face got all pale.
Pale-faced, Mo says he feels dizzy and lightheaded, and so sits down for a moment. They're heading down the stairs when Mo gets dizzy again and falls to the ground. Later, he is not being himself and becomes aggressive with the rest of the crew.
Where is he?
I don't know, man. Just be careful. He's not himself.
Has Mo become possessed? Guess that's what happens when you start challenging demons. This house is most haunted. YouTuber Sandro Silva CS investigates the creepy place in this scary video. When they arrive at the house, they're immediately frightened.
Tu lá dentro? Ô, viado, por Deus, sabe o que eu vi na janela. Ô, Sandro, por que? O que? Ô, Sandro, vamos sair daqui. Sandro, verdade.
O que você viu?
Sandro, eu vi.
O que você viu, louco?
Sandro, eu vi uma pessoa na janela.
But what scared them? Inside, they find no one.
Pra você, cara. Sandro, vamos sair daqui, ó. Não entra. Trava. Sandro, eu vi mesmo, cara. Ô, viado. Sandro.
Calma, Dai.
Vamos sair, homem.
But then they hear a noise.
Estranho. Vai ser lascado.
Cara, bateu com força aquele troço lá, cara.
And that's not the end of it.
Moça, eu tô com medo de ir na frente. Olha! Olha, Sandro!
Olha onde que voa essa cadeira.
Sai daqui, ó! Nossa!
Nossa senhora do céu, cara. Começou já. Começou.
Was there a spirit in the room with them, or just a trapped animal? I think the sound is more spirited than scared. In fact, it seems to me like it's wanting to scare us. A YouTuber named RFam is doing a gym vlog when their punching bag begins moving on its own. Slowly at first, but gaining momentum over time. So even if she pushed it herself, it should slow down over time and eventually settle down. But that's not what happens at all. She dances for almost 10 minutes and the punching bag sways back and forth the entire time. What I can't understand is how she dances so close and doesn't notice the whole time. I guess she must have really been into her routine. There's no strings attached to the piece of equipment, and aside from this explanation, I can't think of any other way she could have faked it. This medicine ball also starts moving in the exact same way with no one touching it, at least no one that I can see, and no shadows on the wall to indicate someone off camera. Again, I can't believe she walks right by, but I suppose she simply feels comfortable at home and isn't exactly looking for anything out of the ordinary. Blurry Faces is a YouTuber exploring two mysterious schools standing next to each other. They were both built around World War II and have been abandoned for a long time. Everything starts out normal until Blurry Faces is exploring an upstairs room full of classroom furniture. After that, something seems to be stalking them at every turn. The strange banging noises only grow louder and more persistent as time wears on. I will give them credit for being courageous and sticking around for so long. This is the event that finally makes them lose their composure and scramble. This time, Blurry Faces bravely tests the weight of the door himself and finds that it's way too heavy to swing open with such ease. You can tell he is putting a lot more effort into opening and closing the door than whatever just opened it moments earlier. Tell me what's written in Spanish across the door and if it has any significance to what could be possibly lurking inside. Alex Griffin runs a sports channel nowadays, but years ago he was briefly into conducting paranormal investigations at the most haunted places he could find. One such foray was the exploration of Borley Church, a place where organs are said to play by themselves and chanting can be heard from inside. There's also the ghost of Katie Borham, a housemaid who was said to have lost her life under mysterious circumstances that could have involved unknowingly ingesting toxic chemicals. Katie is the ghost they are hunting tonight, and so Alex Griffin and his friends logically start exploring the old haunted cemetery for paranormal evidence. They make the mistake of disrespecting her name along the way and start hearing some scary noises soon after.
I don't know what to say. Shut up, Katie. Katie! What the What the
The amateur investigators run away at first, but soon agree that they can't leave the mystery unsolved and need to find more paranormal evidence. They return to the cemetery and the bravest of them steps forward to taunt Katie into showing herself.
See? What happened again?
So I didn't see anything, but he senses a ghost and I tend to believe him. After all, he was the one trying to impress his friends the hardest, so I don't think he'd run away like that and risk embarrassing himself unless he was really scared. The paranormal investigators step forward as one, and a single light glows in the woods even when their camera is not shining on it. It's not exactly the best paranormal evidence ever recorded, but the timing is definitely odd and makes you wonder what this light could be. And with their backs turned, the noise returns.
Yeah,
It sounds like one of them would have thrown a rock or something and hits the top of the tin roof, but then again, this is exactly the kind of paranormal activity that this place is known for. It's years later and not one of them stepped forward to take credit for throwing a rock and scaring the group, so maybe this supposed paranormal activity is real after all. Are these paranormal explorers being trolled? Or is there something haunting this former asylum? Published by Exploring with Maximilian in April of 2021. While the team is exploring, they hear something press the out-of-tune keys of a distant piano.
No, I can't do piano.
Is that the piano?
No. Stop.
From...
It freaks them out and they're not sure what to do. They decide to go check it out and find the room empty, but while in the room they hear another strange noise off screen. They conclude that there has to be someone in here, but they can't seem to find them.
What the Now, what was that? No, there must be someone in there, surely. Like, this is impossible.
We wouldn't do that.
Until, is somebody hiding in that curtain? Although they don't check the curtain, they still sense someone is here and they call out to them. After hearing yet another noise, they decide to leave. They never did see what or who was prowling around the abandoned asylum, but whatever it was chased them out of there with its trolling. I just wish we could know if it was a true haunting or just some strangers messing with the team. I've analyzed some of Lainey and Ben's footage in previous videos, and I'm completely convinced that their home is 100% haunted. Here's yet another video to prove it. Published in November of 2021, the couple is attempting to use an EMF meter to talk to a spirit named Dave, who hangs around their home. Well, usually you'd expect for the meter to go off. That's apparently not the way Dave communicates. Instead, as the couple encourages Dave to communicate with them, setting the meter upright on the table in front of them, the meter is knocked over, causing them both to jump in shock. You might assume that it just fell over, but when you look closely, it certainly appears as though it was thrown down by a malevolent force. Something tells me Dave is the strong, silent type. Two friends are just kidding around when one of them goes running up the steps laughing and smiling, probably to grab the camera, I guess. There's a pause as if the two of them see something, and then a scream that doesn't match their playful laughter seconds ago. Most people agree that she was just being silly and slipped, but others feel she was dragged down by something that was with them both. She doesn't scream as she falls, but it happens so fast that she might have been too surprised. Paranormal explorer Thiago Ferracao returns to the Benzedeiras house in this scary video, published in May of 2022. Legend has it that Maria began by doing good, blessing people, but ended by taking her own life after she started doing dark magic rituals. Ever since, her house has been haunted, and Thiago is on a mission to spend the night there. As he enters, someone is standing in an adjacent room. Before he can step inside, the door slams in his face. Is it Maria?
Meu Deus! Ai, foi isso?
When Thiago pushes his way into the room, no one is there. Checking out the corner in which she was standing, they hear an animal in the room.
Cara, tem bicho ali, ó. Oi, é uma aranha. Você tá vendo?
Then it seems like the animal goes after Thiago. Later, as they attempt to communicate with Maria via a spirit box, they hear this.
Que foi isso? Vai.
They continue throughout the house, trying to convince Maria that they are not there to hurt her, but she does not seem convinced.
Thiago.
When the door finally stops banging, they open it. They leave the house wishing Maria peace, but does she wish peace upon them? Everyone likes a good bedtime story, but what if the entity who tucks you in is a ghost? A viral Reddit post appears to show this intriguing episode caught on webcam. Redditor Cheyenne Rochelle wrote, "My dad has been feeling his sheets being messed up with, and someone's sitting on his bed in the night, so he set up a camera. Look at the sheets lifting up and what comes out of the side of it. It like dissolves into thin air." The creepy footage does appear to reveal what Cheyenne describes, the ghost that's been haunting them. As Cheyenne's father sleeps, the sheets creep up at one corner. Then what appears to be the head of an apparition shows itself before vanishing. As the sheet drops back to the bed, those who believe are all in with a paranormal hook, line, and sinker, with one Redditor saying he might as well just go ahead and throw the whole house away. What do you think? Can you explain this? A few have tried on Reddit, but with nothing concrete, it remains unexplained. The grounds where a double life-taking has occurred is no place to be at night. The guys in this video learned that the hard way. Published to YouTube by the Valspire family in October of 2017, this ghost investigation has all the right ingredients for fear: a storm, an abandoned house at night in the middle of the woods, and a Ouija board. The host, Aiden, says the house has a super creepy backstory and is said to be haunted. The story goes that two male lovers built a mansion up in the woods. As such things weren't accepted at the time, the men had their lives taken in this home. The suspects received life sentences in 1982, but the fact that the police investigation turned up occult tools and books, along with the macabre decor of the home, turned the event into a media circus. The men were labeled devil worshippers. And now back to this video. The ghost investigators leave their house at midnight in a storm, planning to arrive at Corpsewood Manor at 3 a.m. They drive into the woods and then set out on foot on the path, not sure where they are, ready to get lost. They arrive at a fork in the road and finally find their way to the abandoned manor. Aiden hears a grumbling, which he admits may be thunder.
I heard like a grumbling, but that might have been thunder.
He says that his camera, with its full battery, keeps shutting off every time they attempt to start with the Ouija board. At 3 in the morning, they begin asking the Ouija board if anyone had their life taken there. Nothing happens, but they do hear something in the vicinity. Aiden says that he wants to go check it out and thinks it sounded like someone walking.
I heard someone over there.
Jared is freaked out, hearing another sound in the trees. He thinks it was probably the wind.
Dude, I heard something.
No, you did not.
They decide to leave because Jared can't take it anymore. Can you blame him? Aiden recalls that when he sat at the Ouija board and opened up the portal to the spirit world, he forgot to say goodbye, and he claims that ever since then, weird stuff has been happening. All I know is that place seriously seemed haunted. This little 2.5 foot tall fuzzy robot is called Leonardo, or Leo for short, and in 2002 when everyone was playing PlayStation 2 and watching DVDs, this robot was already learning how to think, feel, and respond.
He's alive! He's alive!
Leo was created at the MIT Media Lab in Massachusetts. I know that doesn't look scary at all, but that's the whole point. It's designed so you won't want to be afraid of it. They want you to come closer so that it can learn from you. There's something disturbing about a fuzzy robot exploiting our natural trust for cute animals as a way to help it learn more about interacting with people. I doubt that they would need to downplay its appearance so greatly if the concept of AI wasn't so dangerous and scary to begin with. Anyway, Leo quickly learned how to do stuff after being shown only one time.
Press the red button.
Note how in this next part, Leo is not asked to press the buttons at all, but does so anyway.
Have you learned to turn all the buttons on? Very good.
Again, Leo was not asked to press them. It was asked if it knew how to press them. It correctly assumed that was what she was going to ask of it next. Even today's robots can barely predict what humans want, but this robot, who is 2 decades old, is able to make its own decisions. Next, the scientist flies an object around so that Leo can learn how to track things with its mounted camera eyes. Much like Leo's harmless appearance, they use an Elmo doll to disarm our senses. It's able to track this Elmo doll without problem. It learns how to identify and track red things if asked. Here, it remembers Big Bird's face and is able to find Big Bird when asked.
Can you find Big Bird?
Leo has a neutral expression at first. When the scientist says that Big Bird is a friend, Leo likes him.
Hey Leo, look at Big Bird. Don't you think he's great?
It can also be trained to not like something.
Leo, Cookie Monster is very bad. He's very bad, Leo. He's a scary monster who wants to get your cookies.
If Leo can be taught how to fear or love, then he could also be taught how to hate and destroy. Think about what a bigger robot could do with these abilities. It could be trained to be a police robot, a self-learning face-scanning cyborg that can be taught to do great good or great evil. Or even more terrifying, maybe it could come to the conclusion of what's good and what's evil on its own. Leo could be an early prototype for all that and more. Again, this is just an opinion, but it creeps me out to keep robotic AI looking as soft, cuddly, and unassuming as possible. A man enters a restaurant in Split, Croatia, and helps himself not only to a chair, but to a customer's belongings as well. First, he enters loudly enough to make 2 women turn around and take notice. He was probably on a fake phone call and tried to play it cool but fails miserably. He pretends to hang his jacket up on the chair and stretches out to try and swipe this black backpack. It doesn't work, and so, undeterred, he tries again. This time as one of the family members gets up, and he's about as close as he can be to getting caught here at 41 seconds. And so he knocks it to the floor while the older man is busy swapping out a more comfortable chair, covers it with his jacket, picks it up, and dips. They must have thought the odd fellow simply changed his mind about eating here. Only later did they realize he had gotten away with one of their travel documents. Obviously, this man has practiced this technique many times before, and probably targeted them because they looked like a tourist family. He has yet to be caught in the past 4 years, and most likely never will. So the next time you're at a restaurant, watch out for any odd characters sitting at a table near you. When Alexandra went exploring an abandoned schoolhouse in Ukraine, she never expected to go viral.
Что за запах? О, смотри, вон какая штука лежит.
On the first floor is a discarded tracksuit outside of a hole in the floor that looks like it could serve as the final resting place for many.
А вот это было разве?
Нет, это не было открыто. Здесь все было закрыто. Здесь ровно.
Там какой-то проход дальше, что ли. Ого, он как долго тянется вообще, посмотри. Он прям уходит вообще.
They also find a green barrel that's full of an unknown chemical. They can't read the faded label, but maybe a subscriber in Russia will know more about this.
Да, вот бочонок. По идее, не знаю, что тут написано, невозможно прочитать сейчас.
It could be acid. I've heard of people dissolving the past away in barrels full of acid just like this one. Across from a green barrel are footprints, and across from the footprints are pictures of people.
Ладно, пойдем на 2-й этаж тогда.
Да, ребят.
Это ты?
Есть кто?
Alexandra pauses at the stairs.
Мы с миром пришли, Господи. Не надо нас пугать.
На приколе, что ли?
Пойдем? Пока.
I think this video is 100% real because Alexandra does this thing some people do when they're really scared, where they talk to themselves out loud to keep from completely breaking down.
Так быстро выходим отсюда, это просто великолепно, потому что я сейчас реально насру себе в штаны и все, на этом все закончится. А вот вон мой великолепный, прекрасный выход.
With that said, I'm not sure this video is paranormal. The noise could be someone staying here, a scary person who I'm sure you and I would want nothing to do with, a man who countless others likewise wish they had never seen. A YouTube channel called Exploring with Eric waits until 3 a.m. to communicate with the other side at a cemetery in Japan. He sets up the spirit box and waits to be contacted. They soon sense the presence of a lonely ghost and a single word comes across their equipment. Apparently the spirit understands its surrounding and knows exactly where it is.
Japan. It said Japan.
It said Japan.
The spirit box continues to chirp out static until the waves clear and this phrase comes out. What they're jealous of, I'm guessing, is the fact that Eric is still alive. They probably should leave by now, but curiosity compels them to stay put until the camera goes out of focus, almost like somebody is very near, maybe even in front of them. And I'm not sure, but I think I hear the name Eric spoken in a thick Japanese accent. More spirits seem to find Eric, and by the end of the video, an invisible congregation has formed all around him, and he finds himself is surrounded by hushed threats and whispers of regret. I think this voice is real, because the spirit box only gets a little bit of activity at first, and finishes with a chorus of voices. The San Antonio Cemetery in Texas could be one of the scariest places in the world to go exploring if this video is real. A ghost hunter from the Paranormal Journal stands in total darkness when some creepy things are caught on camera, and despite the lack of light, what he experiences is downright terrifying. His paranormal equipment detects movement, and then a single word crackles across the spirit box in an odd staticky voice. He never shows us exactly where he positioned the motion detection equipment, so it could be detecting his movement or a gust of wind for all we know. But here's something weird. If you look closely, there is a strange phantom light at 29 seconds, the same moment that the motion detection alarm goes off, that soon fades away. I would say there's another investigator, but I think that he might have been exploring the haunted cemetery all alone that night. If so, I have no idea what this light is, and even if it was a member of his team, that still doesn't explain the odd voice moments later that says hello. Thank you so much for getting me to 40,000 subscribers here on my Clips channel. If you want to support, please press that subscribe button. Can you help me reach 50,000 subscribers? Thank you.